As we mentioned, there'll be afterwards as well, and inshallah after Maghrib there'll be some Q&A downstairs as well, after people having snacks. So if any of the youngsters especially want to have a bit of ask any questions, brother, people will be around. Anything that you're not sure of, anything that you want to discuss specifically, inshallah we'll do that as well.
Brothers, come round here, inshallah.
What?
Come in front, brothers. Come sit closer together, inshallah. Fill the gaps. So I don't just strain my neck too much looking around. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله سبحانه وتعالى فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا وكريمنا وكريمنا وسندنا وأولانا ومولانا وقاعدنا وإمامنا وقرة أعيننا وطبيب قلوبنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرواحنا وأرواح آبائنا وأمهاتنا فداه صلى الله تبارك وتعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه وأهل بيته وعلى من اتبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الدنيا سجن المؤمن وجنة الكافر وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام بدأ الإسلام غريبا وسيعود كما بدأ غريبا فتوبى للغرباء صدق الله مولانا العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الحبيب الكريم ونحن على ما قال خالقنا ورازقنا لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Respected ulama ikram, elders, brothers and friends, my first request is, brothers, please inshallah listen attentively. Please don't talk amongst yourselves. Inshallah, if we're sitting next to our best buddy, we should move so that we don't get distracted, because the speaker doesn't speak unless the audience is interested. If the audience shows a motivation, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes the speaker speak. Otherwise, I am not worthy of sitting in front of you and talking, and I'm nervous enough as it is. So I would appreciate if there were no distractions, and inshallah, if you were wholeheartedly listening with your heart and your ears, then inshallah, if the efforts from this part and from yourselves as well, inshallah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make me say things which will inshallah be beneficial for myself and for all of us. Because, brothers, we as Muslims in 2011, in the 21st century, we have heard more lectures because of our iPods and internet live streaming and Radio Islam and our MP3s and the bayans and the conferences and all this that takes place. We have heard more bayans than probably any other Muslims in history. The Sahaba Kiram did not hear as many bayans as we have heard. In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his speeches used to be very short. Our bayans, our lectures go on for an hour and a half, possibly longer. But we have to ask ourselves that after having heard all those lectures, after having heard all these bayans, after having read so much, why is it that the deen of Islam and the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are not in my life as they should be? And the reason for that is because the motivation on our part is not there. If we show a real zeal, a real motivation, if we really strive towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we listen with a yearning heart, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will pour the hidayat into our hearts. And when the hidayat comes into the hearts, when Allah ta'ala guides a person, then the hardest of actions become easy. Just as for us, the smallest of actions are difficult. I always give the example, when we go to Pakistan and places, when we travel by train, if we're traveling from Lahore to Karachi, the train journey is 24 odd hours. And people are sitting on that train. Take England for example, we're traveling from Bolton to London or Glasgow, 4 hours, and we're sitting in the car, we're not driving, or we're driving But we've got nothing else to do. We're just a passenger or we're driving, no work to do. And yet, so many times it's happened in our lives, and it happens with so many people, so many Muslims, that 4 hours pass, 24 hours pass, sitting there doing nothing, admiring the scenery, and people don't get the tawfiq to recite one subhanallah. The simplest of actions. In fact, there have been times in our lives, once upon a time, Allah Ta'ala forgive us, when months may have passed and we didn't perform a salam. When months passed we didn't pick up the Quran. Months passed we didn't say the name of Allah. Because the hidayat was not there. Because we didn't yearn it. And on the other hand, the Sahaba Kiram, Allahu Akbar, the hardest of actions, for me to stand in nafil namaz for longer than usual is an impossibility. The month of Ramadan is coming around. We know the score. I don't know about you brothers in Darwin, but us guys, we're spoiled for choice. Because we've got so many masjids. So after a few days, we go around asking brothers, Assalamu alaikum brother, how's your Ramadan going? Alhamdulillah. Where do you pray Taraweeh? I pray in such a... how long does it take? That's the first question. And if the guy says 1 hour, your next question, is that all in? Is that with witr and isha and everything? And he said, no, just Taraweeh. So that's a bit long. And if somebody says 1 hour all inclusive, you think, cuss me bro, I'm coming there. And if the Imam Sahib's praying slow, we're like sitting at the back, or we're complaining, we have a word with Maulvi Sahib afterwards. Maulvi Sahib, zara kam karo yaar. Because you're praying too slow. And then let's take the example of the Sahaba Kiram. Who are our examples? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made an effort on the Sahaba Kiram, and he created these men. We are not men. They were men. Allah Ta'ala refers to them as rijalun so many times in the Quran. They were real men. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam nurtured them. Allahu Akbar. I've just remembered, sometimes I go home from the mosque, and our elders, they say we should do ta'aleem in the house. We should read from the stories of the Sahaba Kiram and the words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our homes every day, so that barakat comes into our houses, nuraniyat comes into our houses. Because we commit sins in our houses, and because we got the black dajjal in our houses, most people, because there's so many sins and music and all this, the evil influences of those sins, they're like black clouds, and they linger in our houses, and then we ingest them, we breathe them in, and so they have a detrimental effect on us. And what's the detrimental effect of sins? Illnesses, pareshaniya, headaches, fighting, arguments. Be-namazi ki nahusat, our elders say, in a house where there is a be-namazi, a person who doesn't pray namaz, because to pray namaz is farz, so to miss namaz is haram. So if a person isn't praying namaz in a house, he's committing a haram, a forbidden act, a great sin, the greatest sin. And so the evil influences of that will be in that house. So they say that the evil influences of not praying namaz are four. One of those is there will be illnesses. Another is that there will be anxieties. Another is that there will be jagre, fighting. And another is that there will be bebarkati, there will be no benediction. And people say, what are you talking about? And I say, because I'm old enough, and most of you guys sitting here, you know what I'm talking about. When our parents first came to this country, I grew up in the 80s. And I remember clearly that there used to be one person earning in the house. My dad used to be the sole breadwinner. One person. He was on there was no minimum wage then. So he was on lower than the minimum wage. He was earning tuppence. And I used to go to the newsagent and get myself a newspaper boy job. And my dad wouldn't let, he said, no. He said, main jab tak hoon, I'll earn. And what used to happen? There were 7 of us, and he was earning, and all of us were happy, and we were never short of anything, and we had the best of things. And if you take it back further, before I was born, I hear from my grandparents, from my parents, back home in Pakistan, when people were back there was even more abundance, even more barakat. The people didn't have businesses, people were farmers. and 2, 3 families, 4 families used to live together. All the bhais used to live together. And there were like 20 people in one house, and one breadwinner, and he's feeding his wife and kids, and his nephews and his nieces and his parents and his grandparents, and mashallah, they're all laughing and they're all happy. Look now what's happening. 7 people in a house, 7 people are earning. The wife is earning, the daughters are earning, the man is earning, the sons are earning. 7 people are earning, and 7 people are complaining, and 7 people are crying. Everyone is crying debts. We've not got enough. What is this? Bebarkati. And our wages back then were less than they are now. Every house has got a teacher, pharmacist, this and everything. And look at the bebarkati. And look at the jagre. You know, there was a time, you all know what I'm talking about. There was a time when whole families used to live together. Now, after you get married, try living with your parents. Your mother-in-law, you know, your daughter, mother-in-law, the fight is, you know, it's famous. Isn't it? Proverbial dushmani, hatred. So they say she's a dragon mother-in-law. You can't live together. Why? And sometimes what happens is brothers are all living separately, and just on a Saturday evening they all get together at the mums and dad's house just for one evening, and even in that, jagre, they have an argument. What is that? The evil effects of the sins. And look at the illnesses. Every house there's an illness, and such illnesses that you've never heard of before. So these are the evil influences. So our elders say do ta'aleem in the house, because when you read the blessed words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, nur will come out of the ta'aleem and spread in your house. And then Allah ta'ala will send down His barakat, because the hadith says that just as you look up in the night sky and you see the stars shining, in the same way, if in your house ta'aleem is taking place, you are reading from the hadith, and you are performing salat, and you're doing good actions, and your whole family is doing good actions in the home, then when the angels look down on the earth, your house shines like a star for them. Because of the nuraniyat, the barakat, the luminosity of the amals. So sometimes, if I'm getting late, I go back from Maghrib namaz, and I'm thinking I've not done ta'aleem today. And it's important we do ta'aleem. So what shall I do? And my wife's already taken the girls up to sleep. So I think to myself, let me do ta'aleem. How do I do ta'aleem now? So what I'll do is I'll climb into bed with them. And I'll say, let me tell you a story. So I say, now I've got 2 motives there. I'm thinking I'll spend some quality time with my kids, and also I'll do ta'aleem as well, slip it in there without them realizing. So I say, once they say, yeah, everyone loves stories. Yeah, dad, tell us a story. So I say, once upon a time, there was a lady. Her name was Hazrat Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha, and she received 100,000 gold coins as a gift. And at that time she had patches in her clothes. And when she received these sackfuls of gold coins, she said, what am I to do with this wealth? Because the Sahaba Kiram, their men and their women, were not selfish people. They did not think about themselves. They thought about humanity. They thought about giving. Hum kha ke khush hote hai, wo khila ke khush hote the. After I've filled my belly, after I've had a massive takeaway, I feel happy. The Sahaba Kiram, they would feel happy by going hungry and feeding the guest. Hum lekar khush hote hai, wo dekar khush hote the. The Sahaba Kiram would get happy by giving. We get happy when we're grabbing of other people. Hum raat bhar so ke khush hote hai. We get happy by snoring all night long. And Sahaba Kiram would get happy